Hey guys, Buffering Game back today, bringing you a video, and today we're going to be going over what is currently, I believe, the best first-person shooter on consoles right now. We're in an age here in the early part of 2022 where 2021 video games were all but very disappointing as far as the first-person shooter genre goes here on console, especially from the AAA perspective. We had, obviously, the two juggernauts being Battlefield and Call of Duty. Call of Duty with Vanguard, again, very lackluster with a World War II experience, going back to that World War II experience for, I believe, the second time in 4 years at this point. And then also we had Battlefield 2042, which again, just very extremely disappointing in how that game was released and the state it was in, and also all of the missing features. We'll go into that in a Battlefield reflection video that I'll have coming up here shortly. But again, AAA game studios delivering games like that, and I think a lot of the actually good games, one of them being here, Insurgency Sandstorm, and another game being Hell Let Loose, are games that both came out on console back, I believe it was in 2018, or they came out on PC exclusively in 2018, and they both just got console releases here in the latter half of 2021. I believe it was in October and early November. So the focus of this video is going to be Insurgency Sandstorm, but obviously Hell Let Loose is another gem you guys should check out on console as well. So looking at Insurgency Sandstorm, you'll see a mix of some gameplay here in the background, playing in co-op lobbies in hardcore versions against very, very difficult AI bots, and maybe a little PvP action in here as well. So this video game, again, FPS, came out in 2018 on PC and just was ported over to console here in October of 2021. This game right now, I believe, is hands down the best console FPS shooter that there is on the market right now, especially for consoles. Like I said, compared to Call of Duty and Battlefield and some of the other ones that are out there, this is hands down the best one for me. The in-depth features and customization within this game is something that's far surpassing what AAA game studios have been able to come up with the past few years. In general, I think the last good AAA shooter from the FPS market was Modern Warfare 2019, and before that, it's really hard to even pinpoint when we had a good FPS on console. I would say probably Battlefield 1 back in 2016. So the console market, as far as first-person shooters go, has been very, very bland and boring the past few years, and having these tactical shooters like Insurgency Sandstorm being brought out for console, I think is finally opening the console market up to this milsim tactical slow-paced shooter. If you're somebody that ever played the SOCOM series back in the day, some of these Rainbow Six, some of the Rainbow Sixes as well, the Ghost Recon, some of those slower-paced tactical shooters, this is probably right up your alley. Insurgency Sandstorm is a game where you can't really go around lone wolfing anything. If you try and lone wolf or one-man army, usually you're just going to get killed. The TTK in this, or the time to kill, is very, very quick. The calibers and damage models for those calibers and different bullets are, again, very, very realistic in a game from a gameplay perspective compared to games like AAA market games like Call of Duty and Battlefield. This game also offers a lot of options. Even if you don't have internet connection, you can still play this game offline in a co-op mode against AI, which again can have varying difficulty depending on the mode you're doing. So if we're looking at comparatively here, Insurgency Sandstorm, what comes with this game out of the box versus something like the most recent Call of Duty or a Battlefield 22, easily, hands down, Insurgency Sandstorm offers the most content, and I believe the most replayability of that content. We look at this game here, again, you can play with co-op, online with your friends against AI bots, and what I call the best mode to play, that being hardcore checkpoint. And in this game mode, the AI is ramped up. They just did a recent update here at the end of the year where they made the AI in that mode much more difficult than they were previously. And it's a game mode that really encourages team play and communication. This is a game where you can play this without any friends and still meet a lot of good people, because a lot of people are going to have to be on comms, specifically within the hardcore checkpoint game mode. Everyone's usually using your mic. You can hop into any random game with strangers and have a good teamwork most of the time. Have a lot of really cool people that I've met playing this game. And again, in a lot of these game modes, you really need to communicate with your team, move together, and use team play, use the different functions like the commander and the observer, as well as just slowly move and tactically clear rooms, buildings, etc. together, and call outs. So it really encourages an area of team play that we don't see in games like Call of Duty or Battlefield, or really any other first-person shooter on the market, especially for consoles right now. This is something that where you really need to communicate. It encourages team play, it encourages communication, and we don't see that in other games. And even if we look at the PvP or the player versus player aspect of this game, it also, again, given the time to kill, you want to be moving slower, you want to be playing more tactically, slow-paced, communicating with your team, and not moving alone. Typically, you want to be moving in pairs, using smoke for cover, using grenades. Just a lot of good grounded gameplay mechanics here for this game, Insurgency Sandstorm, no matter which mode you're playing. I personally love hardcore checkpoint, just jumping in with a squad, communicating, having good teamwork, and running through the AI bots, which in this mode are, like I said, extremely difficult. And basically, you're most of the time just going to get killed a lot. The AI in this are way harder than any PvP mode that you'll ever play against players. The AI are cranked up to 12, and it really makes you play slowly and, like I said, communicate with your team. Now, we also have a lot of other components with this game, that being character customization as well as weapon customization. This is something we don't really see in a lot of the first-person shooters. I think the best first-person shooter, especially from the AAA market, the example would be Call of Duty Modern Warfare. In Warzone with the Modern Warfare weapons would be the Gunsmith. That allows you to customize your weapons, and then obviously you have things like operators for different operator skins. But here in Insurgency Sandstorm, it takes weapon customization up to another level. First up, take a look and we just look at some of the loadout options here. You can see basically here with this weapon, I have the G36K, and it's all based on a point system. This is something, again, if we look at Battlefield, we look at Call of Duty, specifically even Warzone, there's no checks and balances system that allows, that has any restraints from you just making the top tier weapon. There's nothing to prevent you from doing that every single time. Here in a game like Insurgency Sandstorm, the checks and balances is the point system. You start with X amount of points, and you can see each one of my attachments costs different amounts of points. Now, this is not just for weapons. This is going to go for my loadouts in general. So my weapons have an allowed amount of points that I can use, and I have let's say I have 10 points, so I can use however many I want on my weapons. I can choose to have any sort of grenade or not have grenade. My different light carrier or heavy carrier, I can have things like heavy armor, light armor, gas mask, even on night modes like nods, cost different points as well. Combat knife is free, and obviously like a pistol for a secondary could be a varying different points as well. So this is the sort of checks and balance system we don't see with other FPS shooters on the market. Really not even just consoles, just on the market in general for FPS shooters. Things like this, if I look at these optics, you can see we have the 1x optics are going to be 1 point. Then you have things like 2x optics, which are going to be flip sights, are typically 2 points. You also have varying degree of optics that are 4 points, and then 3 points. So this is your dual zoom optics with your top mounted delta, things like that cost more points. Your barrel options, again, flash hider, compensator, also suppressors are available as well. Those will cost 3 points as well. Different grip options here. If you want maximum recoil control, it's going to be 3 or 4 points. Things like a magazine, extended mag is going to, again, cost you points. Laser sight is going to cost different points as well, especially in night maps. You have more options like flashlight, IR lasers, things like that. And then you have other options like aesthetics, as well as different things for ammo, which is typically just tracer rounds and won't cost you anything. But if I want to deck out my weapon fully, it means I'm taking away from my secondary, my grenades, and whether or not I want to have heavy or light armor, which is going to impact my mobility, because this is all based on a point system. This is something we don't see in other first-person shooters. Is going into for Call of Duty Modern Warfare's Warzone, there's nothing from stopping all the players from making the top-tier meta builds every single time. There's no pros and cons to doing that. In this case, if I'm going to build a top-tier meta weapon here with the G36K, in that case, if I'm using a lot of my points on attachments, then I'm not going to be carrying a secondary. I'm not going to be carrying any sort of grenades, whether it's smoke, flash, frag grenades. I'm going to probably have a light carrier. I'm going to have light armor, and I may not even have a gas mask based on how many points I have left. So you have to think for building your kit in this game, and that's how I think a lot of these AAA studios are making big mistakes with the casual aspect of the game, and it's offering a lot of, I guess, not balanced gameplay when it comes to weapon balancing, because everybody can just build the top tier meta weapon instead of actually having to think through what their builds are going to be for their different weapons and what the pros and cons are to building a top tier weapon and having less protection less ammunition, things like that. So there's always pros and cons with this game. The other good thing here is the appearance, the customization. You can have different character customization. I can customize these characters as much as I want. You see I have a couple different pre-saved here for Delta type loadouts. And again, if I look at customization, gender, character hair, all these different aspects to completely customize your character. You have a bunch of different headgear options here. You have face wear, eyewear, hands. I can customize my gloves, my torso options. There's a bunch of different upper body options here. My legs for my pants, feet. Equipment would be what color, what kind of vest, what color vest. My light backpack cover, my heavy backpack color, etc. What kind of backpack it's going to look like. And then when it comes to plate carriers, uniform camo all around I can choose. And then if I look at like plate carriers, we have light armor, heavy armor. And if I want to preview my ammo carrier, light ammo, heavy ammo. This is a great feature in this game. You can completely customize your character to look how you want your character to look. And again, no character will ever really be the same if you're going to customize them the way you want. Even if I choose a character that looks exactly like this, I could have a completely different camo scheme on the helmet, the torso, the plate carrier, the armor carrier, the backpack, the pants, the knee pads, the boots. Everything can be customized to my liking, and then throw in with that my different loadouts for my different weapons here, which is a lot of weapons. So this is something that this game offers that other AAA studios don't offer. And this is really, I think, a shift in gaming. We're seeing the downfall of AAA gaming from an FPS standpoint, and kind of the rise of these smaller indie type studios. We have Insurgency Sandstorm, like I mentioned, Hell Let Loose. We also have games over on PC, which probably will be having ports to console as well, seeing the success of Insurgency Sandstorm as well as Hell Let Loose ports. We'll have games like Farm 51's World War III, which is just coming out in beta phase here on the PC, and it probably will be ended up on a console release sometime later this year or maybe even 2023. So we're seeing the rise of these smaller indie tactical shooters that are coming out on PC and porting over to console. There's a huge market for these realistic tactical shooters on console. This is something I think a lot of console players have been really wanting for a long time. This type of game encourages really good team play, communication, and you have to talk, and it encourages you to talk with your teammates. Unlike other AAA studio games, which come out and are supposed to be team play games, and you can't even communicate with anybody on your team. Cough, cough, Battlefield 2042. There's zero voice over IP in that game. The game mode has its own. There's no use playing it because you can't even talk to your teammates. It's insane to think that that's something that was released in 2021. The state of the AAA first-person shooter market right now is horrible. And here you have, my opinion, hands down the best FPS shooter and the best FPS shooter on console, being Insurgency Sandstorm. If you haven't checked this out, definitely give it a try. I have a really good beginner's guide video I will link down below. Let me know what you guys think of this game. Have you tried it? Have you played it at all? Have you bought it? If not, why not? And are you going to? This is a slower paced game. Don't expect to come in here and run and gun. You need to move slowly, work with your team, talk with your team. You actually have to be able to control your recoil. Very rarely are you going to rip in full auto. This is more of a single fire type game mode unless you're in very close quarters. There's no crosshairs. You need to utilize your point shooting and your laser lights. This game really brings everything I want to a first-person shooter, especially in the modern military genre. And with the disappointment that we've seen with Battlefield and Call of Duty in recent years, really nothing I think is going to rival this until Modern Warfare 2. And even then, I think Modern Warfare 2 is going to be taking a lot from this game, Insurgency Sandstorm, and other games like Hell Let Loose and even World War III. Let me know what you guys think. Have you played Sandstorm? And if not, are you going to? If you have, how much do you like it? What do you like about it? What do you don't like about it? What are your favorite weapons? Video content we'll be picking up specifically with this game because this game is a lot of fun to play. I'm in love with this game. I've been playing it nearly every day the past couple months. And again, ton of fun. If you haven't picked it up, check it out. And I think you're really selling yourself short if you're still playing Call of Duty and even Battlefield and missing out on this gem in particular, Insurgency Sandstorm. Till next time, this is Buffner Gaming, out.